Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Behind the Groove podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back for the last episode of Loki. That would be episode 6 for all
Mhm.
times, always. And wow, okay. So before we even get started, I
Mhm.
know throughout 6 episodes of Loki, and we did 6 podcasts, obviously, you kept
Yeah.
saying it depends on how they land this plane.
Yes.
How was this
Yeah.
plane landed? Was it bumpy? Was it a lot of turbulence? What was it?
I would say that the the space between A to B
Mm-hmm.
was kind of slowish, but the B part is monumental for the future movies in MCU. Because I think that they did a lot of talking and there wasn't that much action going on. It was kind of just setting up what the future of the universe is and explaining what's going on. So
Yeah.
I think that as far as action goes, I think it was kind of just it was a standard show. But what they said at the end of the episode, kind of, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
It's a monumental deal for Disney, for Marvel. It's a huge deal what they did because everybody knows that for the movies and all this other stuff, they've only had a certain group of characters that they own the rights completely to, and they share the rights to the Hulk and they share the rights to Spider Man. But
Wow.
so they had to do the B and C because for Marvel, the A list characters is X Men and
Mm.
Spider Man. Those are the top of the pyramid.
Really?
Everybody else is above Iron Man, above everybody else. X Men and Spider Man are the biggest characters.
Wow.
And
You mean in terms of like box office money?
no, I mean like actual draw to Marvel, the characters, like the sales from
Mm-hmm.
comic books, the revenue from T-shirts and everything else, like video games, you name it. The X Men is the biggest characters. Spider Man is the biggest, followed by X Men, and now because of the movies, Iron Man is up in that conversation.
Yeah.
But before, Iron Man was like a F list character. He
Wow.
was not popular until the movies came out. They kind of
Wow.
built everything around him.
You want to just get into like a quick overview of Loki episode 6 for all
So,
times, always?
so basically, it picks up at the end of the last show, and Loki and Sylvie they go through the cloud monster with their enchantment, and they end up at this castle. And so they walk through the castle and they see the time. What's the clock? I forgot the clock's name. What's the
Miss Minute.
Miss Minute? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they see her and they're like, "What the what the hell?"
What is she doing
And
there? She's from
yeah,
Kentucky, isn't she, or Alabama or something like that? She has a
yeah, it
southern
sounds
drawl.
like
She
it.
could be from Texas.
It sounds like 'cause she's from the
Mhm.
south. So
Yeah.
they see her and they're like, "What in the hell is going on right now?" And then they keep walking through the castle and they meet King the Conqueror. And he's a huge villain in the series. He's I wouldn't say he's as popular as Thanos is. He's another Avengers villain that's
Mhm.
given them trouble over the years, but he's not on Thanos level.
Yeah.
He's not even remotely close on that level. I don't think people know who he was, and he didn't even announce what his name was. He alluded to it, but
He who
everybody knows that he's
remains. That
King.
was the name they gave him, He who remains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of gets the impression that that's King, and he got casted the dude that got casted as King. So like everybody knows that's him. They're expecting him to be there, and so they get into this talk, and he's trying to give them the power of the TVA for them to take over, and basically the Loki stopped trusting each other,
Yeah.
and Sylvie pushes Loki back to the TVA, and Sylvie kills King.
Oh my
The
goodness. Come on.
implications of all this is that King is saying, "Hey, I'm an evil bastard, but I'm the nicest evil bastard in the bunch,
Right.
and so it's better that you got me versus the other guys that are coming."
Right.
So that's basically what the gist of it is. So I believe possibly Kang is going to be the new big bad that they're building up movies and everything else.
Wow.
He's uh he's an interesting character because Kang is a regular human,
Hmm.
and he's mastered time travel, and he's been like conquering the future, and got bored and decided to go back into the past to find the heroes from the past and beat them just for giggles at this point. Renslayer is his partner in crime, so we'll see what happens with that. We'll see.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I was about to say because Renslayer, she just seems a little clueless to me, not smart. So again, you thought they landed the plane pretty well. It was okay. We know there's a season 2 as well. We know that.
Yeah, which I'm surprised that I've been saying this entire time. I don't think there's going to be season 2, so they're making a season 2,
I'll tell you
which I
this,
think.
like when I was watching episode 6 and when it ended and I
Mm.
was like, oh, I am going to be so disappointed if they do. They can't leave it like this. I mean, listen,
Well,
if they left it like that just to produce movies, right? I think I would have.
mm,
I'm not a Marvel comic person. I'm just a novice to the MCU, right?
yeah,
So for them to leave this series at that point and then to just produce more movies, around this or whatever it is, right? That would have been completely disappointing. But they
that's what I
actually
thought they were going
said,
to do.
yeah, they actually said that they're coming out with a season 2. So that is pretty cool. They have to come out with a season 2. I mean, I would have been completely disappointed. Maybe lost some faith in like MCU, all the Marvel stuff, because
Mm.
that's just a ridiculous way to like leave people hanging. And also just a ridiculous way to try to make money too. It's just like, come on, I
Yeah,
mean, so
yeah.
you're going to push us to
See,
your
the thing
like
is,
4-hour movies, right?
the story is not even remotely even has any kind of resolution.
Mm,
It's basically a cliffhanger that's open ended, and they can probably go in any direction now in the future. But like, what the first season was doesn't tell you anything. You don't really have an understanding about, unless you're like in the comic book lore and you've seen all the movies and stuff like that. You can
mm,
kind of get a gist of what's going on here. But if you just watch the show and you never watch any of the movies, this would be the most uneventful ending for you that you could
yeah.
probably have. It's kind of it doesn't make any sense and doesn't mean anything because they didn't explain what was coming next. They just said, "All right, she killed him, and there's
Yeah.
that."
They were basically saying, if you kill he who remains, then you're going to create, first of all, he's going to have these other variants of himself that's going to about to, just cause complete
Mm-hmm.
havoc. And you're going to create a multiversal war, which was happening. You had like all these different branches coming off the timeline. And it's about to get
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I mean, did you see the timeline and all the branches popping off?
Yeah, and then King's face was in the TVA at the end of the show, so
Right.
like he wasn't there before, and so now he's there. So I think
Mhm.
that it's implying that he has a hand in the current timeline for this Loki. So I don't know.
I have
Do you
some
think Sylvie
questions.
still has that power thing, the wrist thing that he had?
Okay,
You
so
think she took it and she's
that was
running
one
things
of my
now?
questions, because he was basically saying, okay, he took off the super duper, Tim pad. That's like the super
Yeah,
duper Tim pad, right? And whoever
yeah.
had that was, basically they had the throne, right?
You're running time.
Yeah. So she has it now. And last week
Mm-hmm.
I said to you, I don't think she should like be in charge, like running everything because
I don't think
she,
either of them should be.
yeah, but she was, I like Sylvie, but Sylvie was super disappointing this episode. Super
Hmm.
disappointing. I mean,
I agree.
she, it's almost like she has this whole childish sort of thing about, hey, someone did her wrong, so she has to do them. She has to
Hmm.
like she has this revenge thing going on, and it's just like, well, I mean, listen to
Once you
what the
got to the
guy is saying.
castle,
Hmm?
that's what I'm saying. Once you got to the castle, you realize, oh, this is bigger than my revenge thing.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There's a huge problem here, and I'm creating a paradox for other issues down the line.
She
And
just
she's just
doesn't
worried about
care.
the one thing. Like that's like,
Right.
It's going to cause repercussions for everybody based on what you just did.
Renslayer and Sylvie, yeah, this episode, they were a complete. Well, Renslayer is just clueless, and I don't know what's up with that. Maybe she's going to come through, but Sylvie was a complete disappointment this episode. And again, like I said, I like Sylvie, but she seemed really selfish, really young. She needs to grow up and just really think about like the much larger picture. Complete
Yeah.
disappointment. Now, do you have some questions you would like to ask?
Well, I'm curious for you
Mhm.
from after watching the show or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
How interested are you in Marvel movies going forward? Did this pique your interest, or is kind of the same what it was before?
So I've seen some Marvel movies, and like I said, I'm just not into long movies. Build up the lead character, show me some drama, home stuff, whatever. He's in love, he has kids, whatever it is, right? And then get to the action.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah.
string me along with all this like garbage. But the
So
answer to your
it's fitting
question
for it to
is
long.
yes, I would. I'm definitely going to try to get into this a bit more. Now that Loki is over, I'm going to watch some of the sort of movies I haven't seen, because
But you got to
hopefully.
watch Thor movies because of Loki. So you got to watch all 3 Thor movies.
Okay, so I got to
And
watch
I
the
would
Thor
say
movies.
you have to watch all 3 Thor and the
Uh-huh.
first Avengers movie because those are all about Loki.
Okay, cool. So I could do that. And, I'm looking forward to like just diving into this whole thing, like the Loki stuff. Um,
Mhm.
who knows? Maybe this kicks off something new and fresh for, Marvel. Here we go. We're done with Loki, 6 episodes. Let me know what you think. Give me your rating and your ranking, your
For the
rating.
overall show,
Overall, like first of all, do episode 6, and then give me your overall rating for the entire sort of series. And what are you hoping for with episode, or I should say, season 2?
okay, so overall for season episode 6,
Mm-hmm.
I give it a 7. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was okay. But see, the thing is though, without that revelation about King and the timeline and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I would have gave that episode like a 3. Just
Real-
I was bored to tears because they were sitting around talking for the most of the show. Like nothing
yeah.
really exciting happened
Right.
until he explained the timeline thing. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, all right, this is interesting. But like the rest of the show was just boring to me.
Yeah.
But like I know what this means,
Mm-hmm.
so it raises it up for me. That's why I said like the landing. They landed the plane, right?
Okay.
It's kind of bumpy. Some
Mm-hmm.
people hit their heads on the overhit the stands or whatever, but like it's bumpy, but they landed the plane. I can't complain about that because I know what's going on forward. Overall, I would say the show is like a good 7. I don't know if
okay.
I watch it again though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would ever watch it again. I think I'm good with this
Like
season.
season 1. Okay.
Yeah, season 1. I rewatch shows, but like this
Mm-hmm.
season 1, I don't think I would watch it again.
Okay.
Um, season 2, what I want for them to do
Mm-hmm.
is uh, have a clear thing to bring in these other characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know Deadpool is now officially in the series. He's in MCU. So that means that the X-Men are in the MCU. So they just haven't announced them yet. So my question is, are they going to recast everybody, or are they going to keep the same cast and just throw money at them,
Mm-hmm.
give them some Marvel Disney money, and keep the same cast? Because that
Yeah.
last movie was terrible. It was really bad.
Wow.
So if they had the cast, because the cast was good, the cast was
Mm-hmm.
solid. They just got to rejigger the timeline. They got to get a new Wolverine, but cast was solid. Not mad about that. They need to fix their costumes, but
Yeah, for
that's a whole
sure.
other argument.
Mm-hmm.
They got to stop with the leather, man. Stop with the leather.
What is up with that?
Guys have money right now. You can do anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but like overall, I'm happy about that. I would like to see a proper Fantastic Four movie. I want to see something like that in the universe for sure. With Loki show, they need to explain why Kang is so bad and what's coming. They can't just be like Kang's here and then go on to another thing.
Yeah.
They gotta be like, you need to be scared. Like they built up Thanos for 20 something movies, telling you be scared of this guy, and he delivered. So they need to come through and make you know why you should be worried about Kang, because most people have no idea who Kang is, and his costume's weird. So I really want to see how they're gonna make his costume work. He's like a blue face, and he's got purple and stuff and green.
Yeah.
I really like to see how they can pull this off right now.
Okay. All right.
So what do you rate it?
For me, episode 6, I am going to give that a 7 because, they were just setting things up. And again, like I said, as it was going on, I was just like, this would be a huge disappointment if there was not a season 2, and if they did not immediately say that there would be a season 2. You can't string your customers, your fans along with such an ending to a series and not immediately say, we're coming out with a season 2 or we're coming out with another season, So I'm going to give it a 7. I think that for me, again, being an MCU novice, I like everything about it. I like how, everything was popping off in the Citadel. There was some purple in there too. You noticed that? There was some purple in there.
The whole show was purple.
It was all purple, right?
Yeah.
I also like what was sort of the small little, they were very tiny breadcrumbs when they went back to the TVA, And I also like the fact that Hunter B-15 took some of the other hunters back in time to see the Renslayer when she was a high school, principal or whatever, so that was pretty cool. So again, episode 6, I'm going to give a 7. I think the entire series overall, I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm going to give it an 8 is because I do like how it moved, how it moved along. Even though there were some episodes that there wasn't a lot of action, I still think some of the verbal stuff just going on, the breadcrumbs that they were explaining throughout the different episodes, helped, right? So I do like that. So that's why I'm going to give it like an 8 overall. I do hope, though, that, right, for me to give the whole series an 8, the second season better be off the chain, dude. I'm telling you. Because, again, this is season 1. I mean, once we're done with season 2, we're going to give, like, everything we've seen a rating as well. So, that 8, like, the overall for Loki could come down. But the season 2, I think that season 2, man, it should be, the first episode should be crazy action-packed. Just mad action in there. You have Sylvie. She's dealing with whatever she's dealing with, her emotional stuff, like Renslayer is like, she's going to have like a emotional sort of like come to Jesus moment, whatever it is, right? Season 2 better be off the chain, but I'm going to give it an 8. So, again, episode 6, a 7 overall, the entire series. Season 1, 8 for me. Well, folks, there you have it. Another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I'm DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.